What's up? I'm Sergeant Ballistic, but you can call me Brian, and today I'm uber excited to be unboxing and overviewing the Corsair Graphite Series 760T in Arctic White. So this case first got my attention immediately when I saw it being covered by everyone at CES last year. It takes the whole window design to the next level. So the packaging starts out with the typical not so stylish brown box. My box was actually pretty beat up, but the closed cell foam protection seems to have done a pretty good job because I haven't spotted any defects that have resulted from shipping. The shroud's a nice little touch, and I've noticed it on this and my Vengeance C70. As you can see, there's plastic on both side panels to prevent scratching, and there's tape on the front. There's actually multiple versions of this case. The white, which you see here, is actually more expensive and features white LEDs in the front fans and on the front panel. The black utilizes red LEDs. There's also a 730T, which is a cheaper alternative with no windows on the side panel, but the same internal layout. So in terms of design, this kind of reminds me a little bit of the 600T, but it's actually a little bit closer to the 230T. It's a glossy white and piano black throughout and has some nice chamfered beveled edges I like a lot. The case feels solid. People have mentioned the flimsiness of the side panel, but I never think that's a big deal unless it creates noise or the side panels are relied upon heavily for structural rigidity in the case. That's not the case here. The case is mostly metal construction, except for the front panel is plastic and the sides are a high gloss polycarbonate. They're very transparent and surprisingly don't really reflect all that much. You can barely tell they're there from certain angles. So this is a full tower case that measures in at about 22.4 inches or 568 millimeters tall, 9.7 inches or 246 millimeters wide, 22.2 inches or 564 millimeters deep, and it's about 27.5 pounds or around 12.5 kilograms. The maximum supported CPU cooler height is around 6.7 inches or 170 millimeters. The maximum GPU length is around 13.4 inches or 340 millimeters with the drive cage in, or 18.1 inches, 460 millimeters without the drive cage. The maximum PSU length is 9.1 inches or 230 millimeters. So being a full tower case, it supports a wide range of motherboard sizes, including mini ITX, micro ATX, ATX, extended ATX, and even XL ATX. Taking a look at the front panel, you can see that there's a headphone and microphone jacks. There are two USB 2.0 ports, two USB 3.0 ports, and an illuminated power and reset buttons. The reset button also doubles as a hard drive LED. The fan control button lowers the voltage and speed of the fans and also dims the LEDs slightly. The case has three 5¼ inch bays. The top is a little bit more recessed, as you can see, and has a pop down stealthy cover to maintain a clean look even if you do use an optical drive. So similar to the 600T, the front has a magnetic pop out intake filter with a honeycomb mesh over top. So underneath this, you'll see two AF140L white LED fans. Surprisingly, these don't include the rubber noise reduction grommets. But overall, the front of the case is very open and has low resistance for great airflow. If you choose, you can support up to a 240mm or 280mm radiator up front and easily have enough room for push-pull if you remove at least the frontmost hard drive bay. So moving up top, this case features a magnetic cover to minimize noise if you don't want to mount a radiator or any other type of cooling options up top. It can support a 360, 280, or 240mm rad, and it also includes pre-installed rubber grommets, which is nice considering how much the case costs. So the left side panel is what this case is all about. The hinged side panel features a full window to view the case internals. The panels have both magnetic and quick release latches and really feels secure when it's closed. I don't imagine any amount of positive pressure being able to rattle the side panels or open it incidentally. The doors can be pretty easily removed when open to as little as about 30 or 40 degrees, so you don't need a ton of space to be able to get them off. They're also pretty easy to get back on, and it's a pretty good solution overall. So taking a look at the back up top, there's a honeycomb mesh. The height of this area kind of shows you just how much space you have for radiators, not even coming close to the top of the motherboard. So push-pull setups are definitely an option in this case. The rear exhaust fan is an AF140, but it does not come with LEDs. The IO shield knockout is right where you expect it, and underneath that are 9 expansion slots to support XL ATX boards. There are 2 pop-out external water cooling ports if you are feeling crazy and want to do some weird external water cooling stuff. Below, there are front and rear standoffs with plenty of clearance for airflow and rubber feet on each to protect the surface of your desk or floor. There's also a 120mm fan mount with pre-installed grommets, which requires removal of the rearmost drive cage. It isn't filtered, which is somewhat disappointing. Lastly, there's a slide out fine mesh filter on the bottom of the PSU in case you choose to mount it as an intake facing down. The right side panel is nearly identical to the left, except it's blacked out instead of transparent to hide your cable management in the back. Opening it up, the interior has a very nice black finish, which is pretty necessary considering the price. The front panel cabling is black also, and pretty much all the cable management cutouts on the motherboard tray are grommeted. The CPU cutout is nice and large. Above it are 3 cutouts which provide great access for radiator fan cables and a 4 or 8 pin CPU power cable. All 4 of the side-mounted 2.5-inch SSD trays are toolless and seem to be a pretty nice way to show off your drive. These are simple to use and can be removed if you don't need them. So there's a total of about 1 inch of cable management space, which has kind of come to be the industry standard. So this should ensure you don't have any issues closing this right side panel or end up with that unsightly bulge. There are also a good number of tie downs in convenient places. Overall, cable management in this case should be extremely painless, if not actually a pleasure to do. So the main interior of the case is set up pretty much identically to the 750D. The drive cages hold 3, 3.5, or 2.5 drives each and are removable and reconfigurable. I always appreciate Corsair's pre-installed standoffs, especially the center point screwless standoff, which helps hold the motherboard in place against the I/O shield while you screw it down. All of the 9 expansion slots are secured with simple black thumb screws. Here you can see the toolless 5.25-inch drive bays, which have some nice Corsair branding to spruce up the often unviewable right side of the case. Front panel connections include the 2-speed fan controller, which is powered by a Seba power connector and supports up to 4, 3, or 4 pin fans, utilizing voltage and not pulse width modulation to control the fan speeds. The front panel connectors are labeled well and have arrow indicators to differentiate positive from negative where necessary. The rest of the connectors are the standard keyed block types, including the HD audio, USB 2.0, and USB 3.0 connectors. The USB 3 cable is the thick round kind that I find hard to work with. I've seen a couple cases with a flat type and I wish that would become standard. So overall, my first impressions of this case, actually having it, is that it's as gorgeous as I thought it was. Like I said, I knew I wanted it from the first moment I saw it, and I'm really happy I finally have it and can do a build in it. Airflow, cooling options, drive configuration, and cable management all seem like they've been well addressed and considered. That said, there are some minuses to this case. You might think they're nitpicky, but they are. No rubber padding on the PSU mounts to prevent vibration and noise. The front panel connectors should be all black, especially when you have a case that's meant to show off the internals. Maybe Corsair will come out with an aftermarket top radiator dust filter and 120mm dust filter for the bottom, but for almost $200, I wanted those to be included with this case. The included fans don't have rubber mounts, which seems like a cost saving measure, and for a almost $200 case, I don't want to see that. The bulky and hard to bend USB 3.0 cable, I just want to see done away with for flat cables in all cases by all manufacturers. For many, the almost $200 price tag will be a bit much. So that's it for my unboxing and initial review of the Corsair Graphite 760T in Arctic White. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Also, what cases are on your radar right now? I have an HTPC rebuild coming up and I'm kind of leaning on the Fractal Design Node 804 for that. So I've actually already finished rebuilding my editing rig in the 760T, so I'll definitely have some videos coming up on that process, some final shots of the build, and my final thoughts on the case overall. Please leave a thumbs up or thumbs down and let me know whether you want to see more videos like this. Be sure to follow me on your favorite social media sites for more frequent updates on all my tech ongoing projects and upcoming videos. I will see you guys next time. Later.